Approaching 55 degrees, 95 years ago this month, Alaska's first streetcar hits the road. In this week's Storytime with Aunt Phil, author Laurel Bill tells us how a presidential visit would be the catalyst for this historic event. The year 1923, President Warren G. Harding is in Skagway for a brief 3-hour layover when Laurel, a sourdough, steps up to give him a bit of a tour.
That sourdough was Martin Itjen. Now, he was an immigrant from Florida who had come north in 1898 with the stampede to find riches in the Klondike. He took President Harding on an excursion around Skagway, and when he noticed how much the president enjoyed the tour, he thought maybe he could make a living on tourism in the famous gold rush city, so he started the Skagway Streetcar Company.
So what did these streetcars look like, and I guess more importantly, how much did he charge people to ride them?
Well, the coal deliveryman, undertaker, and rooming house operator built his first marvel of transportation on a Ford chassis. It resembled a bus with fancy gadgetry on it. He charged 25 cents for the 2-hour tour, and so that's about $3.75 in today's money. And his tour had stops at famous places like the Pullen House, the White Pass Railroad, and the grave of the infamous criminal Soapy Smith. He ended up having 4 streetcars, and they were decked out with oddities to amaze and delight his clientele.
Oddities. So what were some of the more creative cars?
Well, one car carried a small bear cub on the front that'd growl and point its paw to the right or left as the car turned. He also had a life-size mannequin of Soapy Smith that would nod its head, wave a flag, ring a bell, and also puff out exhaust smoke from a cigarette.
So he eventually takes his show on the road. I mean, it's already on the road, so to speak.
Itjen first bought Soapy Smith's parlor in 1935, and he converted it into a museum. And then he put his streetcar onto a steamer, sent it down to Seattle, where he then drove it to Hollywood to see the famous actress Mae West. He spent 2 weeks with her, trying to convince her to come north with him, but she declined his offer to be a hostess on his streetcar. Well, the pioneer sourdough tour driver passed away in 1942, but in keeping with his sense of humor, there's a huge rock painted gold near his grave in Skagway, and on it is written, "The largest nugget in the world, property of Skagway Streetcar."
And next week in Storytime with Aunt Phil, author Laurel Bill gives us a history lesson on the famous Chilkoot Trail.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool story. I wish there were some of these streetcars on the road today.
Yeah.
Yeah.